What is up, fam? Today we are going to replace the spark plugs on the Hardbody D21 Nissan pickup, whatever you want to reference it by. My Nissan D21, that's what we're going to do. So change out the spark plugs about time. I'm starting to feel that the spark plugs that I have on there, which was copper, they're starting to kind of fade away, which is common. Copper, you know, they're good plugs, really good plugs, but they wear out quick. So going to upgrade with platinum. Obviously, swapping out your spark plugs, you know, on your stock vehicles, it's, you know, fuel efficiency. So it's going to save gas. So it's always good, regardless if you stick to the specs by the manufacturer on what plug you choose. You should choose, or if you want to upgrade to a better material, which is platinum, double platinum, or iridium. Regardless, swapping out plugs will increase your fuel gas mileage, obviously, because you're not using those wear out spark plugs that, you know, have less of a spark during your combustion. So let these swap these out. On these pickups are pretty easy. All you're gonna use your 5/8 spark plug removal tool, and obviously your ratchet to do all the work. So let's go ahead and start pulling them out. Now let's make it pretty easy on yourself. Just go one by one. If you're someone regularly like myself or any other people that work on cars for a living, you can just pull all the, you know, wires. Obviously, you're gonna know which wire goes to what. But if it's your first time, or you're a beginner, or you're trying to learn, just start off by removing one ignition wire. Pull that one out, leave the rest on, swap out the plug. Obviously thread the other plug back on, tighten it down, and put on the plug. That way you go by one. That way you don't mistake the firing order on these wires. So let's start off with the first one. The first one's pretty easy, so let's pull out the plug. Slowly just pull, twist, and pull. Okay. So like I said, just twist and pull, twist and pull. That's that. And there is your exposed spark plug. So I'm having a bit of a clearance issue. We're trying to use that spark plug and the ratchet itself. I could fit the plug in, but I don't have enough room to fit the ratchet to kind of twist. So get an extension, plug that into the back, and let's twist. Okay, once that's on there, go ahead and let's twist. Once you've loosened it with the ratchet, just do the rest by hand. You don't need the ratchet. You don't want to, these are aluminum heads, so you don't want to, you know, damage the threads on the heads. So the plugs are off. That's what they look like. This still look pretty good, but let's apply the new ones. That's where threads onto the bender. These are the new plugs compared to the old plugs. Now I myself, when I work on plugs, I like to apply a little bit of anti-seize. We're gonna add a little bit of anti-seize on the threads. You know, that way, see, those were pretty easy to remove because I applied that anti-seize. So you don't want stuck plugs. That's bad. Only the thread apart. So you're good. So let's start hand threading in. So now we're going to hand thread as much as we can. Now, you always want to hand thread almost on anything when you work on a car. Obviously, your fingers or your hand won't damage the threads on what you're threading onto, and the thread itself on the item or product that you're using. So for example, these spark plugs, they can get damaged, as well as these aluminum heads. If you use like some power tool or ratchet, immediately you could cross thread and damage, and you're in bad luck, because then you're going to have to, you know, tap and or die, whatever, you know, the situation is. But you don't want to do that. So hand thread first. Once it's tightened all the way, then use your ratchet, and you use about a quarter turn. So that's where I'm at on the ratchet, and I start off right there. So that's about a pretty good turn. So that's it. You don't need to do much. These are just plugs. Go ahead and remove that and apply the ignition wire and start off on the other one. So once you rub that in or push that in, you hear a click, because obviously inside the boot there is this exposed, I guess you could say, almost like a coil spring in there, or just a clip kind of open to that shape to fit on the tip of the spark plug, and you hear it clip. So you could feel it as well on your hands as you're doing it. So that's on there tight. If you, that's not coming off. So let's finish off with the other ones. Same thing. After we did the first one, we run up to the second one, remove the plug, the ignition wire, the plugs out. There is the old plug. Most of these plugs that are platinum and above are gonna come with this cardboard protective, I guess, tip. These plugs, they come gapped, they're pre-gapped, so you don't gotta gap them. So that's what this piece is for, so it won't hit the tip because they're gapped already. So apply the anti-seize and begin to hand thread. Now, if it doesn't sit right, obviously because you're hand threading, like I said, like we talked about, you won't damage anything. That's why I hand thread first. Once it's threaded incorrectly, you'll feel it going all the way in. There's your second plug, hand thread, and let's get the other one. Also, another friendly reminder, anytime you're pulling out plugs, try to pull them straight forward as at the way it goes in. Try to pull it out that way. Don't pull it out at an angle. I've seen people pulling out at an angle. Believe me, they rip this off because that's still attached and they're doing it at an angle. They damage the material inside where it clips onto the spark plug tip. So you don't want that. So always get it straight at an angle. Not at an angle, sorry. Straight from the plug, not at an angle. And so our last plug on this KA24E engine is going to be all the way back there. As you can see here, that is right there. And it's kind of difficult because you have your oil dipstick in the way, and especially with that bracket that holds it in place. So it's kind of difficult to kind of get in there, but you're able to get in there. Patience, and you'll get in there. There is that plug. Look at that plug. So in this situation, we can't really add the extension here because of that bracket. So if you could see there, there's your spark plug socket. You're gonna have to add one of these swivel extensions. I could place at an angle, so you could see that. So you're gonna place at an angle, and then I could get it from here. So now that's placed there. See, now I could move this towards me, face it towards me, and I have angle. You can even add an extension if you want there. But I believe I didn't use an extension last time. So let's see. Terrible about this is this one I can't really see. This one's that mechanic situation where you put your hand to the back and you want to cross your fingers and make sure you're going in the wrong hole, or you're going in the right hole, sorry. But all jokes aside, it could have been an easier process. So you see that bolt down there, that holds that bracket for the oil dipstick. If I would have loosened that up, I would have been able to move that bracket out the way, move this out the way, which would have given me more room to add an extension, make the job a lot more easier. But I don't want to go through that. I've done this, so I'm just going to thread it on here by hand and twist. Okay, so let's add that last plug. Let's see if we could hear that popping noise. Where is that sucker? What? I can't find the plug now. Let's see if I can get another hand. All right, so you might twist for a little bit, but I want you to hear that pop. There is the plug. Very not. Whoops. Kind of hard for me to do this at an angle. Cool. So that pop you heard was the inside the plug, as we mentioned. There's that opening clip, kind of like a C-clip opening like that, and it just popped into the back, into the tip of the spark plug. So now we're good. Now it's time to start the car and make sure it idles fine. All right, let's make sure. And success. It started off real good. Oh, that's nice. Real good. And that's it, guys. That's how you swap out these spark plugs on the KA24. This is from like an 89 all the way to a 95 pickup trucks. Your D21, your Hardbody, your baby boy, your baby girl, whatever you want to call it. I hope you guys like the videos. Let me know what you think. Subscribe. I'll be doing more videos on other vehicles pretty much soon. I worked on a BMW where I did on these inline 6, I did the boots and the spark plugs and valve cover, but I was not able to record it. But I'll see if I could come up with some more vids. Thanks, guys. Peace.